All right, we'll go ahead and start. For any latecomers, once again, my name is Janari Merced. I'm an admissions counselor here at STCC, and today, myself and Yesenia Lopez will be going over some commonly asked questions about academic advising and what that means for you as a prospective new student or even a returning student. Just to give you a few tips about housekeeping and the layout of today's info session. We're going to go into it. I'm going to talk briefly about some information about STC as a whole. Then Justinia is going to get into her bit. We're going to have an area for an area to ask questions, but please remember that if you have questions before we get to the actual pause in the presentation, please put it in the chat now and we'll address them as they come. And share any links that we have through the chat feature. And then we'll wrap up with some information about applying to SSC, whether you are a new student, whether you are supporting someone who's coming or a returning student. So with that, I will progress from here. And I just want to thank you all for joining.
STIC is a wonderful campus right in Springfield, beautiful, historic, very walkable. We have people from throughout the city who often come to walk at lunchtime, in the evenings, etc. The buildings are beautiful, modern. I tell folks it's an oasis here in the city.
There's a very, very strong sense of community here between other students that want to see each other succeed and the professors that want to see you succeed.
Many students start at a two-year community college like STCC and save a lot of money, have small classes, individual help, etc., and transfer on as juniors through many of our articulation agreements with four-year schools.
I commute here. I plan on transferring to UMass. Everyone's friendly here. It's positive. You can feel the energy.
There's a lot of activity both by day and at night. Students are out studying, out at the picnic tables, they're walking around campus. We have a lot of athletic teams that are constantly playing out on the fields.
The sports programs are very, very good here. I'm getting so much help from the people around me in the communities. It's a great place here.
I'm in my third semester. I want to have my associate degree and transfer to UMass Amherst. Many things that will help you to succeed in what you want to do.
All services students really need to enroll in school, stay in school, financial aid, you talk about the library, tutoring, all that stuff is in one building now. Students love it because there's also a lot of student space.
You can see students hanging out all over campus, especially with the new building. Once you get here, all the students are hanging out here.
Right in our surroundings, we have the Springfield Quadrangle, Merriam-Webster's World Headquarters right across the street. Walking around Mattoon Street, some of the very historic communities. It's a really beautiful area. Tech Park's a real neat place. It became very much a small business incubator space, and we also have classrooms there. We have our mechanical engineering program, has all their labs in there. State-of-the-art facility. We have a lot of folks who just come to take one or two courses to see if college is for them. And they find that niche, and they take off like rockets. And they are dedicated students. It's a game changer for everybody.
I'm about to transfer to a four-year, and I've already saved, $30,000. Best business decision I've ever made. This is STCC.
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 I love that video. It always gets me pumped. All right, so today, as I mentioned, I'm Janari, and here with is Yesenia, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Yesenia Lopez. I'm an academic advisor in the Academic Advising and Transfer Center.
All right. So I'm just going to talk a little about what STCC is and what it looks like. I always start saying that we're a dynamic campus. We're very, very diverse. We have students that range anywhere from the age of 16 to 84 years old. We have students, a lot of our students actually come part-time. And I always highlight that because, coming to college it's a new experience. Most of our students are first gen eds. Most of our students receive financial aid. And it takes time. It's an acquired taste. So it allows students who are in the part-time sector to associate and fit in school into their lives. And that's what we do. We want to make sure that you allow us to fit into your life and not the other way around. So as you see here, 40% of our population is part-time. 57 of them go full-time. Oh, I'm sorry, the other way around. 57 of our students are part-time and 43 are full-time. And however it works, if you want to go part-time, it's roughly about part-time, you can go anywhere from 9 credits, 10 credits or less, and full-time is 12 credits, which is about 4 classes. We have a female population. We have 59% of our student population's female, 41 is male. Of course, we're working on the male population to try to get that number up because school is for everyone if that's what you want to do. Because we offer associates and certificate, anyone can come to school, and we want to make sure we highlight those 2 different type of awards or certificates, should I say, that you can earn here. Our ethnicity, we are, I don't know if many of you know, we are a Hispanic survey institution, meaning that over 30% or higher, I think it's 20% or higher is Hispanic. And we have 30% of our population is Hispanic. 40% of our population is white. 15% of our population is Black, and 15 is other or multi-ethnicity or multi-race. And just to give you an example, the type of degrees that we offer, last year's graduation, we offered, our students earned 840 associate's degree, and they also, I think, let me just move this, 132 certificates were earned in last year's graduation, and those numbers are going up every single year. So hopefully with this information and further communication with me or my staff, we can get those numbers up and you're on your way to earn your associate's degree or certificate. All right, this is actually, she just got a change of title, but this is the dean, interim dean, assistant dean of the Academic Advising and Transfer Center, KIOTA. She's a local. Most of our population that work here, we're locals. We went to school here. I went to school here. And we're very, very much invested in our community and making sure that our students are successful. All right, so I'll hand the baton over to Ms. Lopez.
All right, so in terms of the academic advising services that we provide, so we not only provide academic support and encouraging you and helping you be successful at STIC, but we also provide educational planning. A lot of students don't know what they want to do when they start at the school, or they have an idea of what they want to do. So our job is to really help you narrow down what you want to do, you know, search possible careers so that we do some career exploration with you, look at the options that you have that we offer at STIC, kind of match the program at STIC to what your future goals are. And then we help you schedule your courses for whatever semester that you're starting with us. We also provide transfer services. So we have a transfer counselor. Her name is Maria Saez Bonilla, and she helps you with the whole transfer process. So if you're looking to go to a 4-year school after you get your associate's degree, so somewhere like Westfield State or WNU, or if you want to go out of state to Florida, Maria is the person in our office to help you with those things. So she helps you with the application process. She does one-on-one transfer counseling services. Every year she puts on a college fair. We have college representatives come from all the area schools, where you can, if you have questions, you can have one-on-one conversations with them. We have instant acceptance days, and we also have transfer sessions and workshops to answer those questions that you may have. And it's never too early to think about transfer.
I have to second that. The earlier you know, or even have an idea, whether it's a program or a school, it's good to have options, but the earlier you start having these conversations with Maria and their team, they can start exploring, they put you in connections with, in contact with other representatives from different schools. As I mentioned, I was a college student here as well, and after a few attempts, by the last attempt, I was like, okay, this is where I want to go. This is what I want to do. And I was able to explore different schools. I ended up not going where I thought I wanted to go, but it was great that I had that experience early on instead of going there and then realizing it wasn't for me. So I definitely advise, no matter where you are in your academic journey, to start thinking about where you want to transfer and what's best suited for you. All right, so we're going to go into the advising. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to be addressing some commonly asked questions. If you have questions, please put it in the chat and we will go from there. All right, so the first question that was asked is, what does advising mean to you as a student?
So as a student, it is your responsibility to meet with your advisor. And so your advisor is there, like I said, to help you be successful in school. And so we are split up in terms of professional advisors and faculty advisors. So depending on your major, depending on what you choose to do, you could be with one of the professional advisors in my department or a faculty advisor. And so as an advisor, my suggestion to students is meet with your advisor, because they're going to help kind of keep you on track with graduation, what you need to do and how to be successful. But it is your responsibility to reach out to your advisor, because we do have a big caseload. And so we try our best to meet with all of our students. And, you know, you have to make sure that as a student, you're getting what you need.
Perfect. And this really taps into self-advocacy. It's really important that you exercise that. And we have different offices on our campuses support students. Self-advocacy is a skill that we all have to learn. I learned that more in my adult age about it, but it's really important, and this is how you exercise it. And we have different departments and staff members that support students to learn about that, and really are providing different supports. So thank you, Jasenia. The next question is, when and how should I meet with my advisor?
So in meeting with your advisor, you'll be assigned an advisor about a couple weeks into the start of the semester. You'll get an email from the school just stating who your advisor is. Your advisor will reach out to you when it's time to register. So if you start in the fall, usually the first registration period is about November. So around October, you'll start getting emails from your advisor to set up an appointment for priority registration. And so you meet with your advisor, you should meet with your advisor at least twice a year. So once in the fall, once in the spring, but it never hurts to meet with your advisor more than that. I have students who always check in with me weekly or monthly just to make sure they're on track or they have questions. So we're kind of a one-stop shop. If you have a question, you don't know where to go, see your advisor and they should be able to point you in the right direction.
Thank you. Who can access advising services?
So everyone is assigned an advisor, and if you're not assigned a specific advisor, you're assigned to the Academic Advising and Transfer Center as a whole. So everyone has access to advising services. So even incoming students, we have the Chat Now button. So if you have questions about advising, you can use the Chat Now button to ask us questions. So we're not going to deny you an answer.
Are advising services available during the summer and during COVID?
Yeah, so we have transferred our services to online. And so if you make an appointment with an advisor, the appointment could take place over the phone, or we usually use Google Hangouts Meet so that we can have a face-to-face conversation with you. One of the things that I like to do as an advisor is to walk a student through their program evaluation, which talks about the classes that they need to graduate. And so it's easier for us to have a conversation when you're actually looking at that form. So the Google Hangout Meets allow us to I can walk you through the process, show you what that looks like, explain to you, so that you are well informed about your education, and so that you, going back to the self-advocacy, know what you need and know what to ask for.
And I would like to add that anybody who knows me knows I say the same thing over and over. The advising is the heart of a college campus. They are there to support you, I mean, in anything. I am very fortunate that many of my advisors when I was a STIC are now my colleagues and friends. But it's really important for you to utilize this service and really and not be afraid to ask questions. This is a learning process for everyone. The advisors are learning you and where you want to go and making sure they're providing the best service and putting you in a successful path, but it's also a learning curve for yourself. So always reach out to your advisors. They're always there. The beauty about our academic advising and transfer center is like an umbrella. You know, and Yesenia said it perfect, is a one-stop shop. You go there, you say, hey, I want to meet with a person. Yes, you have an advisor, but anyone can help you. So it's a lot of cross training, and anyone can give you the same quality, individualized service that you need to get through that process. So we're gonna go from to the next section, and we're gonna tag team this one together. So we're gonna talk a little bit about transferring. Transferring, very, very, very important. Some students know they want to get an associate's degree or a certificate, or they want to be here for a workforce development in 3-4 months and get a trade and get into the workforce. And that is great. Either way, we're here to support you through any of those process. Workforce is a little bit different, but we work very, very close with each other, and we provide the same great service, right? But as Justina stated earlier, it's important to at least start thinking about this. A lot of students are like, no, I don't want to transfer. And we understand that. But once you actually immerse yourself in your education and in your studying and your learning, and you start opening another world, you're like, wow, I may want to do this a little bit more. I may want to go work here. And this is where the transferring part goes. Starting at STIC allows you, if you start at STIC and finish, it allows you to get into a whole nother portal of saving money and quality education. So this is the Commonwealth Commitment. It's an agreement that community colleges have with private schools and public schools, and you save yourself thousands of dollars if you go through this portal. So we're gonna go in and answer some commonly asked questions through here. All right, so I'll take the first one. It's what is Commonwealth Commitment Program? So a little bit of what I just stated. It's a program from the Department of Education, and it's to support and guide students through graduation in a bachelor's degree. So in order for you to earn a bachelor's degree, you need 120 credits. Coming to a community college, you do 60-ish credits, sometimes 62, and then you transfer. This commitment, if you start with us and transfer to any of the state colleges, you have an opportunity of saving thousands of dollars. You can pick up to 400 different types of degrees. So it's just to give you a small example. If you were interested in secondary education, you come here, we have a secondary education track. It's through the Commonwealth Commitment. You finish through, you do all your prerequisites. So your classes you need in order to get into a four-year college, you do it at our institution. So it saves you money here. And then it allows you to transfer into, let's say, for example, Westfield State or UMass into their program. Now, depending on your GPA, you get different perks. Perks range from your credits being frozen, meaning, the cost of college being frozen. So if you have a good GPA, they freeze the cost. While you're in school, you get automatically acceptance in another option. You get, you get incentives. You get monetary incentives depending on where your GPA is. In some programs, you don't have to write an essay. Some schools, there's some say you need SATs and your essays, you can waive that. So there's a lot of perks, and those are just to name a few of them, but it's a great program. And again, I'll talk about what the cost, the overall saving is, but it varies depending on school and program, and if it's public or private. So I'll let you take the next question.
Sure. So in order to transfer pretty much to any public university or private as well, they ask you to do what's called a mass transfer block. And so the mass transfer block are certain classes that you have to do in order, it's like the base that you have to do in order to get accepted into a 4-year school. And so you have to do 9 credits, so that's about 3 classes in behavioral and social sciences. So anything like psychology, sociology, history, those will count for there. So 3 of those. 9 credits or 3 classes in humanities and fine arts. So that includes arts, theater, philosophy, any English classes besides English 1 and 2. And then you need 7 credits of natural physical science. So that includes one science class that has a lab. Most schools are looking for you to have that lab component in order to transfer. And then 6 credits or 2 classes, which is English 1 and 2 for English composition. So that's pretty much the, oh, and then 3 credits of math. So one math class, so whether it's statistics or tech math 1, or if you score into calculus, whatever that looks like for you, only 1 class or 3 credits is required.
Perfect. And then we have one question. I'll address it because I think it came from the last session. It talks. Question is, let me get back there. Sorry. Where and when can I take my academic test? So I'm not sure if you're talking about like a placement test. So students who come in, depending on their GPA and when they graduate from high school, can wait. They have that test option waived. Others may have to take it. So if you know that you're a student that has to take it, you would be informed with your email, your acceptance email that you receive from our office. And the testing center will be contacting you to set up a time to set up for you to take this test. So that should be coming in a pipeline. Hopefully that answered your question, because I'm not sure if there's any other tests that you have to take upon entry besides that one. Is that correct, Yesenia?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so I think you're talking about the placement test. And just to give you a little foundation on the placement test, it is not a graded test. It is, and we are truly, truly invested on your success, right? And we want to make sure that we are putting you in the classes that you need to be in. Not classes that are too easy and not too hard. We want to make sure that you are learning and you're engaging. So these tests, what they do is measure where you are academically, and we put you on Yesenia and her team, they schedule you for classes that's based on that tier. So if you take an exam and you do college level, you place in college level math, they may put you in technical, I forget what math, statistics, for example. So that's how it is. So I always tell students, when you're taking that placement test, just try to relax. It's not graded, it's just there to measure where they can put you so that you are placed on a successful path, okay? And we're gonna talk about, did we do the application process?
No, not yet.
Okay, so let's go into that one. So the question is, what is the application process at a college or university?
So in terms of the application process, this is something that it's really important to connect with Maria with, because she's done a million applications, so she's a professional at it now. But in terms of the application process, a lot of the schools will accept the general application form, and it really is just basic demographic information with a potential essay, right? What that looks like, depending on the school, depends on the essay. And the essays really just ask you questions about yourself, and they just really want to see what makes you stand out as compared to the next student, right? They're going to ask you about your extracurricular activities, what you've been involved in. They're also going to ask you to submit your transcripts. So you'll have to go to our registrar's office, or you can send them through our online system and send them the transcripts so that they can see your grades throughout your time here at STIC. That's the general application process. You know, like I said, every college and university is different. So it's important that you either work with, our transfer counselor, Maria, or really pay attention to what the schools are asking for, because you don't want to accidentally send the same essay to 2 different schools, and it just doesn't look good. So you want to make sure you're paying extra attention to that.
Perfect, thank you. And how much can I save if I transfer to the CommCon? So as I mentioned earlier, it varies. So if you transfer to the CommCon, you can basically earn a bachelor's degree for roughly about $29,000. I don't know if I put it, but if you Google CommCon, it'll take you to the website or Mass Transfer. So it actually has a breakdown of how much you can save. You can search a school that you're interested in going. So let's say, for example, you may be interested in Salem State. You can say, okay, I want to go to Salem State for criminal justice. It will tell you how much you can save from our school to that school. And depending on where you are with your GPA, what are the perks you're going to get. So, and for most people, roughly $30,000 is a lot of money. But let me break it down to you one more step further. So if you go to a 4-year school, roughly, the cost varies from schools, anywhere from about $45,000 for the first year to about, the most expensive I've seen thus far is about $67,000. So if you're gonna go from freshman to senior, what you do, you times that number by 4. So you can go anywhere. You can basically be paying, it doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna pay out of pocket for this whole cost, because some people get financial aid that is based on your personal situation. But some people can go to school and the overall cost, whether you're paying for loans or grants or scholarships, is $250,000. That goes a lot higher depending on schools. Now that's like a private sector. Now for the public sector, if you go straight to a school right now, you're looking at maybe roughly about 24 a year, 24, 27, depending on the school, times that by 4. You're looking at 60, 70,000. So it's a lot different. But if you come to Stick First and then transfer, you're gonna get the best bang for your buck. By the end of 4 years, all 4 years, 2 years here and 2 years there, you're looking at roughly about $29,000. So it's a lot of money. I tell students all the time, because like I said, I went through the channels of community college. I transferred to a 4-year school. I'm still in school, getting my master's. I'm not my bachelor's anymore, thanks God. But sometimes I think about it and I should have done things a little bit different and I could save even more money. But I didn't know about at the time about a lot of self-advocacy opportunities. So I am very, very passionate of making sure that every student I come in contact with and those in my department, we talk about the opportunities for transferring and really looking at the long term on how much money you can save. Now we also have agreements, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the next slide. But that kind of wraps this session up. We do have one question in the chat, and it talks about our automotive. So I'm not sure if a lot of people know that, things are changing. We are learning and adapting very quickly through COVID. And some programs recently have been discontinued. Unfortunately, the automotive program is one of those that's been discontinued for right now. We are very, very, we're taking, the precautions that we need to do and take to make sure that our students, staff, and faculty are safe. And, that program and a few others are so hands-on that it's almost hard to gain all knowledge you need to be in a distant setting. So unfortunately, like I said, one of the programs that were discontinued for the fall of 2020 is automotive. So we are not offering that this time. But if you want to have an appointment with us, our contact number is at the end of this slide or the end of this presentation. Reach out to us and we can explore different options. Hopefully that answered that question.
Can I just elaborate, Janeri? So our department's also the advising department is making phone calls to those students in those programs as well. So, but the other thing that I wanted to answer, the question was about the distance portion of it. So if you're currently in classes, whether it's, doesn't matter the class, but if your class now says distance, what that means is it's now an online class. And you're using our Blackboard system. So that's our system where professors upload all the work and you submit all your work through that system. There is no, unless it specifies, there is no specific time where you meet with your professor on Zoom or anything like that. Some classes do, so there are some science labs that will meet at a certain time. But if it says distance and it doesn't elaborate on we're meeting at 8:30 to 10, then you're doing it completely online with no meeting time. So it's not it's sort of self-paced, but it's not. And I say self-paced in that you log in, you see what type of work you have, and then you submit it at the due date. And that's pretty much what that looks like.
And thank you for getting that piece of the question. That's really important because a lot of students think that because you're online, you have to be in at a certain time. It is allowed to keep you very flexible in your life flexible. So if you are, for example, I talk about myself, I get up at 5 in the morning before my kids wake up and I do my classes because that's my time. So however you want to fit in this class during the online learning, just know that you can fit it in when you need to. That's, to Jasenia's point, be very mindful when you're registering your classes or meeting with someone and saying, okay, I got this lab. It's a 2-part component and you have to work at that time. Make sure you're letting your academic advisor know, like, okay, I need this class because it's a part of my program. However, I can't meet this time. And they'll go through the process with you and make sure they find a class that fits into your schedule. If it's not that class right now, then they could plop something else into next semester where we have more time to, get yourself on track to plan for that class in the future. There's one more question. It talks about automotive, if it's coming back. So as of right now, we are unaware if it's coming back. We're kind of going, step by step to see what happens and what this pandemic brings about to our programs. So unfortunately, I don't know if it's coming back in the near future. And that's kind of the short and most honest answer that we have at this time. All right, so I'm gonna go on to the next slide. We're at the question point, but some questions have already came in, so that's great. If you guys have any other questions, please put them in the chat box. Myself and Jasenia will address them to the best of our abilities. But in that time frame, students were able to ask some questions before coming to the actual info session, and I did get a few questions. So Jasenia, these are kind of for you. One question is, what advice or tips would you give a student on the best ways of getting organized for school and classes?
Sure. So now, especially now that we're moving to more online classes for the fall, students get confused because they don't really know, they don't have a specific time for a class. And so one of the things that I suggest to students is to schedule out yourself as if you were taking a class during a specific time. So usually classes are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday. So I always suggest to students to make out a schedule and to, for example, if you have English and you have math and you have sociology. So you have 3 classes that you would have been taking Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So what I always suggest to students is to schedule your classes as if you were in class. So for example, take English 101 and your schedule from 9:05 to 9:55. That at that time period, you're working on that online work. And you're logging into Blackboard, looking at what you need to submit. Then the next class you'll do during the following period, and then you continue that way. That way you can get yourself organized and really create a plan for yourself as if you were coming to class. It's really important to log in. I always tell students log in on Sunday night or Monday morning to see what your assignments are going to look like, to really see what your week is going to look like, and then make a schedule, make a to-do list, something that will help you get a little bit more organized so that you make sure that you're not submitting things late, because some professors may not accept late assignments. So that's also really important to do.
All right, thank you. And again, the benefit of the time that we're in right now is that you are going to learn the best. I think the best organizational skills about yourself and your learning style during this time. I try to see a silver lining out of most situations, and I think that's one that really has surfaced, is that I have to get organized. I hear that constantly from students. I have to get organized. My daughter is in college right now as well at Stick, and she's like, Mom, like, you know, this is a lot. I had to sit with her. I'm like, okay, I still use an agenda. Like, agendas are very important. People think, oh, it's online, I'm gonna do it. Because you know what? It's almost like out of sight, out of mind. It's in the individual to stay on top of it, right? So an agenda really, really helps. She uses her cell phone. Okay, when do you have class? When do you think you're gonna have the most time to focus on just this? And she put out that schedule for her, and how it's gonna work into her schedule. So I always suggest, as a tip that I give, like I said, my college students, my daughter, I give her that tip, and I use it myself. I use my Google Calendar on my computer, and it does help me with my learning. So another question that I got was, can parents join with meetings with advisors?
Yeah, so we allow parents and family members to join if they want to. As an advisor, we always do have what, if a parent or a family member is present, we do focus more on the student, right? So parents can feel free to ask questions, and we always just look to students to make final decisions. And, you know, obviously through FERPA laws and things like that, we have to make sure that it's okay with the student to have other people on the call with us, and we can confirm that through face-to-face by asking the question if it's okay. But yes, parents are more than welcome to join and have the conversation, you know, because some students do need some guidance still. So if you feel like, you know, you feel better having a parent involved, then we gladly accept that.
All right. Another kind of, not really much of a question, but it's kind of a tip that I like to give students, and Jasenia, you can chime in on this as well, is that if you're just coming back to school, or this is your first time on an online type of environment, be honest with yourself. And, you know, just say, I've been out of school for a while, or when I was in school, I'm really an on-campus kind of person. We're kind of forced to be in this right now for the most part. So we can ease into this. So really be honest with yourself and talk to yourself and think about, like, how do I learn? What's best for me? Because these little conversations that you start having with yourself eventually will come out to your advisor, and they can put you in the classes. So for example, traditionally, when I was at Stick as a student, I would be a full-time student, depending on the semester, a full-time student. But eventually I had to start taking online courses so I can acquire my tastes in the online environment. But I had to build the tolerance up to that. I wouldn't in the beginning just sign up for 4 classes, especially when I'm learning. I'm not the best at organizing myself yet. So these are things you want to talk to your advisor with. Like, I'm not really organized right now. I have a busy life. I have children. I have a spouse. You know, I work 2 jobs, 3 jobs. And they were like, well, at this moment in time, and they will kind of have that conversation with you. What do you think about that, Jasenia?
Yeah, I think I've gotten this question a lot. So a lot of our students traditionally like to be in the classroom, like to be with the professor, like to ask their professor questions. And so they're not really prepared for, or they've never taken an online class, or don't think they're good at it. And so one of the things that we do in our office is we really have conversations with our students about, what does your life look like, right? Because Janari mentioned, like, you may have children, you may have work, you have all of these things that you need to balance. And you may not have time, to sit at home and do a class. You know, your time might have been a little bit easier coming to campus, because now you have that separate time to come and do the work and focus. And one of the things that we emphasize is that just to try it, right? So if you're thinking of not registering for classes because they're online, or you're not really good at online, we're always encouraging you to try at least one, right? See how it goes. We have online tutoring. That's why reaching out to your advisor is so important, so that if things are going not the way that you expected, your advisor can help you, keep you on track, or connect you with the appropriate services like Trio or CAS, things that we have on campus to kind of help keep you in school and help you be successful. And so it's important for you to reach out to your advisors, but trying online, at least one will be helpful, especially now that we're kind of forced to do it, right? And so we say, if you don't want to do, and if you don't want to be a full-time student with four classes, at least do one so you can try it and see how that goes for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So at this point of the presentation, I'm going to go in a quick conversation about what it takes to apply into the program. And Jacinia, if you want to chime in at any point, feel free, okay?
All right, sounds good.
All right, so earlier I talked about transferring. We have transfer agreements with all the state schools through the Commonwealth Commitment. Like I said, if you're looking at coming to school and mapping out your academic journey, I would look into the different programs, because as it states here, we have over 400 options for you to transfer to a four-year school. What that means is, when they say 400 options, that means there's 400 majors, 400 degrees that you can earn through the Commonwealth Commitment. So Google that into your, put that into your Google search and spend some time in there, explore, look at different schools. If you're looking at getting out of Springfield, if you're not from here, or the other way around, you can see different schools and what that may look like. With that though, we also offer, and we also have matriculation agreements, which is a fancy word for just kind of contracts or agreements with private schools. So some of the private schools that you can go to are Bay Path, Elms, Wentworth, Northeastern out in Boston, AIC, Western New England. What's another one I'm missing? I see them all. I think I said them all. Those are just some of the programs, but those are private schools that we also have agreements with them. And basically, like for example, we have a really good agreement with Elms, and they focus on our students with who are looking into the social work field. We have a program where students can take their first 2 years courses here, they transfer over there, and then their classes are discounted over there. The way that we've made that affordable to our students is that, especially with the Wentworth and the Northeastern, which are both schools out, near Boston and in the heart of Boston, is that they actually come to campus, or now in a virtual setting, and they give you the same instruction. So cost of college, a good portion of the cost of college, especially when you start transferring and looking at schools like that, is living on campus, right? So if we take that equation out and still provide that same quality education, we are still able to put it at an affordable rate for our students. So with these private schools, you can still attend. If this is your dream school, whether it's in-state or out of school, we don't want you to go away from that. We don't want to steer you away from your dream school. We just want to make sure that you are successful, that you're ready to rock and roll when you get there, and most importantly, that you are not getting yourself in so much debt. I think that's something that we all focus on in STCC. I know I do as well. We don't want you to get in debt. We want to make sure that when you get to the finish line, that you get to keep and have more disposable income in your pocket versus paying out to student loans. Now, if you need to tap into it, no problem. I mean, we all get to that point. I know I got to that point. But if you don't need to tap into it at an early phase where it's cheap, here at STCC, or affordable, we want you to save those loans to where you're really going to need it.
I just wanted to add as well that there are options for everyone, right? Elms offers Saturday programs, accelerated programs. The University Without Walls is a really good program for those who have families or can only do evening classes. So transferring doesn't mean that you need to be the traditional student, going during the day. There are options for you to do other things so that you can get the education that you need, the same education as everyone else, but just fitting in what you need for your life.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And you're absolutely right. All right, we'll go from here. This is another great service that we offer, the Career Coach. So for those of you who are still exploring or feel like, I don't know what I'm going to do, I just want to say that I think it's like over 70%, don't quote me on the number, but it's a high percentage of students that don't know what they want to do. If you ask me next week, I still don't know what I want to do. But this is a tool that we provide all our students. It's free. It's really, really, it's a software basically, and it really dives deep into your personal interests, and it lines up degrees and jobs that are in demand, that have good salary. It's free. You don't have to even be a student to use it. You go onto our website, you create a profile, and start asking yourself. It starts asking you some personal questions, and it highlights environments that you may be interested in working, or jobs and careers you may be interested in working, and then it ties it up with degrees or certificates that we offer, so that you can explore more. So I always tell people, try each phase and then kick back to our website and explore the recommendations that it gave you. Great service, super free, super awesome. And I like it because if you do it now and kind of save it, in a few years when you're looking to transfer, do it again and see what happens. All right, so from there, let's go to the next one. So applying to STCC. It is super simple. It's a three process step. The online application takes about 5 to 10 minutes. If you are a student that are looking to come for the fall, you have to get us your high school transcript. With that, you don't add it, because I know a lot of people get confused. So when you're doing your online application, you don't upload your high school transcript to the software. You email to us privately. I don't think our software has that capability, but it does. It's weird because it kind of shows that you may be able to. You can't. So online application, you submit an online application, about 5 minutes. Then behind the scenes, you're submitting us any college transcripts that you want us to review, college courses you took to save money here. You're submitting your high school transcript. If you are having difficulty getting your transcript, we would advise try to contact the school directly. Some schools nowadays have an online portal where you can just request, they send it to us automatically. If it's a high school and they email it to you or they mail it to you, you can take a clear picture, send us a picture, and we'll put it in the system. The reason that we ask for a high school transcript is a federal requirement for you to receive financial aid. So I know people are like, well, I have my high school diploma. We need a high school transcript because it shows your graduation date. It actually shows classes you took, and we have to verify other things for financial aid, okay? And then right after that, we have many of our programs are open enrollment, which means you apply, you get in. We don't have much requirements besides the high school transcript and an online application. So you can pretty much get into quite a few of our programs that we offer, whether certificate or associate's degree. Now, there are some programs that are competitive. To give you an example, I would do respiratory care. It's a very competitive program. It's something you have to have prerequisites in already. So that one, if you apply to, you may, depending on what you have, you may not be able to get into it right now, especially right now because the application closed. But just know that if you're one of those students that want to get into our competitive program, that it's a conversation you start having with your academic advisor, such as just saying early on, because then they start mapping out, the requirements you need early on, because you may need, let's say, a class that we offer or that we're looking at transfer credits, and they support you through that process. So that's down the road. Okay. If you have any questions, please add it to the chat box. We're very unique for multiple reasons, but this is actually one of the things that I like the best, especially being a parent and working full time and going to school full time. I need a little flexibility. So each semester may change for me. How can you start classes, or when can you start classes? We're flexible. You can start your traditional semester in September, and it'll run you a whole semester long, which is roughly about 4 months, from September to December and January to May. Or you have options to do like mini sessions. They're called flex terms. You can do that within the semester. So they run 7 weeks long. If you start in September and you start the first day, the traditional semester begins, but you'll end mid-October. And that's one semester. Basically, pushed everything together and made it really, it's not so intense, but it requires a lot more organizational skills and you have to keep more active in 7 weeks. So they made it shorter so you can be done in 7 weeks. Now, these types of semesters, these flex term semesters, for some are a little intimidating. For others, they actually prefer it because I can focus on one class and not focus on anything else, or 2 classes and not focus on anything else, and then take another 2 classes. You can still be a full-time student if you do 2 sessions in the flex term 1 and 2 sessions in the flex term 2. So you can still be on track to graduate in 2 years if you do it that way. But just like anything else, you can double it. You can take a semester as a traditional semester, a flex term 1 and flex term 2, however you want. But it's something that you need to have a conversation with your academic advisor so they can make sure that they're meeting your needs.
I just wanted to add as well, a lot of the students who I meet with who want to get into their competitive program, like say they want to do nursing, a lot of students take advantage of the flex terms because there are a lot of classes that you have to take, but it allows you to get those classes done sooner rather than later. And then to Janari's point in terms of the flex terms being better for some students. So I have some students who really have, don't really like the 14-week long semester, really want to get things done, or really, really hard to focus in those 14 weeks and prefer a shorter semester. So the shorter semesters allow you to get just more done in a shorter amount of time. It is a little more intensive in terms of work because you're doing 14 weeks of work in 7 weeks, but nonetheless, it gets you out a little bit sooner.
Exactly. I know people who plan their whole vacation around flex terms. So whatever works, we're here to work with you. All right. And this is just a little bit about the cost of our programs here. A full year. Earlier, you heard me mention about, you heard me talk about the cost of like a 4-year school, anywhere from 26 for the first year to 45 to 67. It depends. Our first year, which is 10 months, just like any other school, is roughly about $6,500. We're very, very inexpensive. As I mentioned earlier, most of our students get full Pell or full free money, as they say, to cover the whole year and leave you with extra funds to get books. So again, financial aid is dependent on your personal financial needs. So I just like to highlight this a little bit so you can kind of get a visual of the actual cost compared to other schools. But this is just one of the reasons why we're a great school. All the other ones we talked about earlier also make it that much of a better experience. All right. And with that, I'm providing you with our contact information. I work at an admissions, as I mentioned earlier. I'm an academic, I'm the admissions counselor, one of the admissions counselor. That's our phone number and that's our email. And right over here, we have the contact number for advising. That's their phone number. We are still answering our phone calls. If you want to make a one-on-one appointment where we're doing like a virtual, face-to-face, myself, my staff, Jasenia, her staff, we are happy to do that. Just reach out to us via email. You can talk to us via chat. So if you want to talk to someone live, go on the website and hit the chat button. You can talk to our office, Jasenia's office, academic advising, financial aid, and disability services, and a few different offices as well. In the chat now, I'm going to put the contact number for Maria. Maria, as Jasenia mentioned earlier, she is the transfer counselor. So she's worked for students looking into going to 4-year schools. Again, it is not too early to start planning out and having those conversations. We actually recommend those early on in this journey. So I'm going to put her contact number and her email in case you want to reach out to her that way. So Jasenia, you have something to add?
Yeah, so if you're looking to get an appointment with any of us, like Janari said, the chat now button is really the fastest way to get connected to us because it's an instant. We have about 8 staff members in the Academic Advising and Transfer Center, and so we take turns answering the chat now and making sure that we answer your questions fully. So that is the fastest way to connect with us. And as mentioned earlier, please reach out to us if you have any questions. We're a one-stop shop. We refer you where you need to go. You know, and making sure that you're taking accountability for your education and reaching out to us is important as well. Okay.
Thank you, Yesenia. And we're just gonna open the floor up for anyone who has questions. If you have any questions, we're here to answer those questions. As I mentioned, I'm gonna put in about a second the contact number for Maria Sages that works alongside of Yesenia in the academic advising. But we'll stay on for a few more minutes if you guys wanna have further dialogue. We're here for you. If you wanna make a personal appointment, reach out to our prospective offices and we will set up those appointments with you. But we hope that you join our STCC family in the upcoming semester or the following year. You have the support as early as when you apply. We want to make sure that you are doing your financial aid on time. If you need help with financial aid, submitting your FAFSA application, you can get that. We have a service here. We have an expert that helps with the FAFSA. If you talk to me, you talk to Yesenia, we can refer you to that office as well. So you just want to make sure that you're ready to rock and roll once school starts and you have all your questions answered and all your required, you know who your professors are, you know how to manage a web advisor, so on and so forth. All right. Okay, are you able to tell us this? Okay. Yes, I can. So the questions, I'm not sure if you can all see the questions, but we have a question in the chat box that talks about what programs are discontinued. So give me a second, I can pull those up right now. Great, my bell. Okay, so the discontinued programs. Give me 1 second. They are. I'm trying to find the email because there's a list of them. Okay, here it is. Okay, so automotive, biotech, biotechnology, civil engineer technology, cosmetology, dental assistant, landscape and management. What's schools? These are school starts of STEM. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, so those are the program. Automotive, biomedical, engineering technology, biotechnology, civil engineer technology, cosmetology, dental assistance, and landscaping. So those are the programs as of right now that have been discontinued for the fall. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not sure if they're coming back or when they will come back. If they do, we are kind of seeing how this pandemic plays out and making sure that we're keeping our students safe and our teachers and staff and faculty as well. We, myself, Yesenia, our staff, we're still not on campus. Safety is the #1 priority with the administration, and we're following guidelines on that. So we're still working remotely as well. But as soon as there's any updates on when it comes back, it's going to be on our website. If you haven't already, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. I suggest you do because we always, and YouTube, we always add updates on those portals. So if it does come back last minute, that's COVID's over, and they say we can go back and maybe it'll come back at that time and you will know firsthand from there and or Mass Live. Any other questions? All right, we'll give it a minute or so. I think we got another one. Oh, another great question. Can you still be able to set up a FAFSA appointment with financial aid advisor? Absolutely. In the chat box, I'm gonna just add the contact information for setting up for their office so you can set up an appointment. So if you guys are interested in getting support, we're doing that via Zoom or via Hangout, and they'll be able to help you submit your application through that platform. Okay, so I'll add that contact there. You guys have some great questions. I really appreciate all your questions because I always tell students, you ask more questions, but I guarantee you helped another student with the same type of questions. So I appreciate it, all your input and your questions that you guys are providing. All right, let me just make sure that financial aid information is coming in. Okay. All right. Any other questions for myself, Jasenia, or anything else that we can support you? If not, you are more than welcome to exit the virtual info session. Again, know that we're here to support you, and know that you can make an appointment with us. And I'm gonna go back really quick so you guys, just in case, if you need our contact information, you have it. So while you guys are starting to exit, I'll leave it up there so you can have our emails and our phone numbers. All righty. Let me see if that financial aid stuff was added. Anything else? Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right, so once this, the FAFSA appointment contact information has been added to the chat, we're gonna start exiting it out. So if you guys can just copy, paste it, or you're more than welcome to look on the website and contact them there. As we mentioned earlier, the chat now, you can talk to any department, financially being one of them, so you can also reach them that way.
Before we head out, I just want to thank Janeri for having us on, for having me on the Zoom call. You know, getting the word out about academic advising and how important it is. And as we mentioned before, we're here to support all students.
Well, you're very welcome. I do think advising is, again, I'm a product of academic advising, and I think it's very important that all students know what great work you do and how it benefits us as students. I say us as students because I'm still a student. I still meet with my academic advisor, but the skill came when I was an STCC student. So we do have one more question in the chat, talked about like online classes versus, you know, distance and how that's working. For the fall, as of right now, most of our classes are online. And it's through Blackboard. It's not a time set classes. We did kind of mention that earlier, where you can basically, you have the online portal, you can go in at whatever time. You have deadlines that your professors will give you when, you know, discussion boards need to be posted and responses and assignments. But in a general sense, they don't have a time set that you have to be on. However, there are some classes, for example, if you take a science class with a lab, the lab portion is very interactive, and the only way we can do it right now is through this type of platform. That may have a specific time you have to be on. So if you take an organic chem, the class and lecture, you can do that when you have time and at any time of the day, as long as you meet your deadlines. And then the lab portion will have to be a set time. So for example, it will say that you need to meet Wednesdays from 9 to noon. But again, when you talk to your academic advisor, you can let him or her know what your schedule is, what your life looks like, and they can try to fit the best class that fits into your lifestyle right now. Hopefully that answered your question.
I just want to also add that there was also a quote about the social distancing. So there are very few classes that are going to be on campus this semester that'll actually be in class, and those will be mostly like the nursing classes and nursing labs, just because those need to be in-person hours, and there are proper protocols in place for if you have a class that will be meeting on campus, what that looks like. But if you are part of that class, once you register for that class, it'll be written right on there. For example, if you choose a lab that has a certain time, as Janari said, that they're meeting like 8 to 10 o'clock, it's going to state that on the class, and you'll know right away. It's not going to be a surprise to you.
And again, if you have any questions, just reach out to your advisor. All right, well, with that, we're gonna go ahead and head out. We wanna thank you for joining us today and learning a little bit more about academic advising. If you guys have any further questions for us, please email us, chat with us, or give us a call. As Jacinia mentioned earlier, the easiest and most quickest way right now is a chat, but use whatever mode of communication is best for you, and we will be back in touch with you. We, again, want to thank you. We hope to see you in the upcoming semester. And if you want to see different topics, please email us that as well. Like there's something you want to know more about or something like that. Email us and we will do our best to try to meet your needs and make sure that we get all those questions asked. All right. All right. So we are going to go ahead and head off. Thank you again. Stay safe. Give me 1 second. I see a chat really quick. I want to make sure I'm getting all the. Oh, okay. Actually, okay, so and the chat now, hopefully you guys were able to see the contact information for the financial aid, the email, the link, and the phone number, and you can make the appointments there. Just want to make sure you guys got that contact. So next time, guys, we thank you again, and I want you to be safe. And again, we're here for you whenever you need us.